Last time on Beyond the Racing Line. Yep.
I think it's going to be closer.
Yeah,
it's going to be closer.
If Max can't get this car turned, which he absolutely desperately needs.
No, I tell you what, if anyone hasn't seen it and you want to know how good this man is around Monaco, go and watch last year's qualifying and his final sector. But
this car isn't that car, and that's the key here. Like he's not getting it. So Max just needs a car that's really pointy, so it turns in and then he'll deal with it after that.
Yep. And
at the moment, he's just not getting that sort
of tell you what, I mentioned Zach earlier in the pod about being my dud of the day. If anything is going to put fuel on a Verstappen fire, it's comments like that Max will come out and absolutely wipe the floor with the McLarens.
Interesting.
I really feel like that is the worst thing you could do after he's had a little bit of a rough weekend. So, anyway. Well, predictions, honestly, knowing how good this man is around Monaco, it absolutely is a Max pole and a Max win.
You say he's so good around Monaco?
Yeah. He's good. He's real good.
I disagree.
Okay.
The man's had...
He's had a couple
he's come good.
Yep.
But he certainly hasn't traditionally been good.
No.
I'm going to go a Leclerc win.
Have you ever seen Leclerc qualify around Monaco?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That was exciting, wasn't it?
A lot of red flags.
Yeah.
A lot of red flags.
So I'm going to go... I'm going to go Leclerc win for a bit of an out there race.
Okay, no.
Monaco's not necessarily just always the fastest car wins, but they seem to have a pretty good package.
I'm going to put Oscar in second because he's right on at the moment, and I think we've had so many times where Lando's been thereabouts. I think Oscar is definitely driving better than his results are saying. So I'm going to go Max into Oscar into Charles. It's going to be my top three.
Yep. No, I don't mind the Oscar call.
Yep.
And Norris seems to be pretty on it too, but yeah, I'd say Leclerc, Max into Oscar.
And I'm going to say Logan finishes ahead of Alex. You can replay that next week if I'm wrong.
Oh, book it in. Let's book it in. Welcome Beyond the Racing Line. That's right. This was last week's conversation just before we ended, and I booked that conversation in. And it did not age well. Tristan Pocock, welcome.
What an absolute drive-by that is.
And you know what?
I'm not happy with that.
I run the buttons, and that's the way it works. And yeah, it aged really well for me, didn't it? Max did not go well. Leclerc got the win, even though you bagged him out.
Yep.
And then Albon Sargent. You got Oscar.
I got Oscar.
I'll give you that one.
Yep.
I'll give you that one.
Yep, me too.
The Sargent call over Albon did not go well for you, did it?
It was looking all right. And then, geez.
I don't think so. I don't know when it was looking all right.
Well, if my predictions are any gauge for how my weekend's gone, Monaco-esque, I've probably gone as well as what Checo has, to be quite honest.
Yeah, please.
Which is not great.
Not great.
Not great. Check my fantasy Monday morning.
I've never known an episode for me to have so many duds of the day.
It's going to be such a long episode.
It's going to be a long dud of the day segment.
I know.
And I'm looking forward to it. I'm
really
looking forward to it.
I've lost my laptop. I'm well underprepared.
F1.5 is in all sorts of trouble, isn't it?
It's just not happening today. It is not happening today.
Tell me, so let's...
I can't tell you. I have no idea.
No. What is it saved on?
It's saved on my laptop.
F1.5.
It's saved on my laptop because I thought I'll ditch the notebook this year.
Yeah.
Tried to get
I talked you into digitalising.
I know, you talked me into it. Ridiculous.
And since then,
my laptop's gone for a swim in 2 litres of paint. And it's not happening.
Is it on Google Drive?
Yeah, it's on Drive.
Oh, that's right. So
I'll be able to get it.
We'll be able to get it, right. Okay. All right.
So I'm underprepared. Absolute drive-by to open the episode.
Well, I think it was necessary.
I've had a shocking fantasy weekend.
I think it's necessary.
I don't think I need this coffee. I think I'm just straight in.
Welcome to Beyond the Racing Line.
It's going to be a long episode this week.
We've got most of the goodies, but we don't have F1.5.
We don't have F1.5.
Because Tristan's computer is gone.
I will revive it at some stage, and it will be back next week in some form.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to go back to notebook form.
Oh, come on.
I think it has to.
Just be responsible enough. But we've got all the other goodies, and I tell you what, I've got so many duds of the day that I'm...
Good.
It's going to take some time to get through.
Good, because I tell you what we won't be talking about is the thrill of racing. So thank goodness we have other content.
Give me a race ranking.
Oh, geez.
A weekend ranking we've been doing this year.
A weekend ranking. I'm going to give it a 4.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a fail.
Wow.
It was a fail. It really was.
You were really hard down in the dumps.
It really was.
I'm up there with for the weekend, I'll give it an 8.
Week, you gave it last week an 8.
Yeah.
Lando's win. Was this up there with that
Yeah,
as a weekend?
it really was.
It wasn't.
I gave last week a 7, I think. And this one I ranked higher.
And I think
there were better moments.
Debatable.
So I really love this race, and I love that. Well, I felt like people were finally getting it. That this race is all about qualifying, and qualifying is the big event here at the moment. I want to change that, but at the moment, qualifying is it, and so you just got to enjoy that part of qualifying. But
qualifying is brilliant.
Yeah.
Qualifying is brilliant.
Yep, it should be a one-lap shootout. It honestly should be a one-lap shootout because I think that would really highlight these drivers. However, it was wonderful. The one knock on the race is the red flag took away that opportunity.
It was exactly what we didn't need. I was talking about this with a colleague on Monday. Yep. If there is a place where you don't need a red flag, it's Monaco. Anywhere. Last week we get a red flag. It turns a brilliant race into an absolute spectacle. This week you get a red flag, and that was it. I was exactly the same. Red flag come out, watched them all come in. Yeah. Oscar onto the hards, and that's it. That's it. I was like, that is first time in the history of the sport that the top 10 have come home in starting order. Yeah. That's first time.
That's concerning.
That's a worry.
There was some that doesn't tell the full story though. It really doesn't. And lots of people have brought that up, but that doesn't tell the full story. Because there were drivers that weren't in their positions for a long time. Well, until the fact that they couldn't work it out. And we can get on to the red flag dramas later on. But it does my head in that, well, let's get onto it now. How on earth can, in this day and age, can a lap of racing or half a lap of racing just not exist anymore?
Yeah.
I hate that rule. They know which drivers were in which order after a race start. It was an official race start. Why are we having to put them back into position? Because you could see which drivers are in certain orders.
I don't know where the timing loop was.
I don't care about the timing loop.
Yeah, I know.
You can see it.
We talked about the timing loop
you
last
can
week, didn't
see
we, as well?
it. Put a timing loop after the first corner. Put a timing loop before the first corner.
But I guess it's sort of
it's simple. It is such a simple fix.
Yeah, I know.
Or just look at the cameras.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
how long did they have to look at it?
Yeah.
We knew that Zhou was last.
Yep.
And we knew that you work your way backwards that way, or you work your way front through. It's such an easy thing.
I can understand why they don't do it. Like, if you've got two drivers that are on a pass, and what if we get into that?
And a red flag, you can see it.
Sort of that unusual territory where they're going to be side by side, and it's like, well, who's what? I don't know.
And a red flag, in that situation, they go to default. Whoever started first on the grid starts first. If you can't work it out with them, that's the way you work. That's the way you deal with it. It's just, it does my head in that such a massive moment can get lost in it all. Like, science has just got out of jail free. Opening question, though, it still revolves around the same stuff. So we have got lots of goodies here, but opening question revolves around the same stuff. What's your extreme solution for making Monaco more competitive to racing?
More competitive to racing.
So, for example, change the track.
Yep.
Or run some really extreme softs. Neither of those are my solutions.
No.
I've got 3.
Okay, hit me with your 3, because...
And they get more out of hand as we go.
Okay.
Which I'm sure you'll really like.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so
you bring that flavour.
First one is mandate all 3 compounds for this track and this track only.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you could bring this in for other tracks as well.
Yep.
But all 3 compounds mandated means that you're at least got up your sleeve a red flag, but it means that drivers will be on different types of tyres at different times of races. Yeah. So you're going to potentially have hards against softs at different times.
Okay.
Now, this track is incredibly hard to overtake.
Yep. Well, impossible.
But I reckon a soft against a used hard might possibly open up that opportunity. We saw 2 overtakes of this race, which isn't good enough. I admit, it's not
2.
good enough.
I was going to say, I can only recall one legitimate overtake, which was Valtteri's.
Yes, yep. There was one more.
The thrill around, thrill from the commentary around an overtake. I thought, oh dear.
But so mandate all 3, and it just means that we've got 2 chances for pit stops.
Yeah.
Because you start on 1, 2 chances for pit stops, and you're a real possibility to have different tyres at different times in the race.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this track needs, even though it's incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Next one is move the Noble chicane further down the straight.
Yep.
This is getting a little more extreme.
There's a little bit. Can you move it?
I don't think so.
I think it's physically possible.
Well, I think you could, but it's possibly going to ruin the next section, which is one of our favourites, the swimming pool section.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's getting a little more extreme. Now, have you referred to your phone, our group?
Yes, I did.
I want you to have a little look.
Right.
I've prepared a map for you. Now, this is everything I tell you we're not allowed to do on podcasting. So your job is to post this map in our socials.
Okay. All right, we'll do.
So if you have a look at this map, this is a tourist map of Monaco.
Did you draw that?
Now, in show me the map because I've forgotten which colours I used. In orange is the current track.
Yep.
In red is a boulevard running up along the coastline.
Yep.
And for those playing at home, it's at Portier, you turn left and go along the coastline. And I think it's like, for those people who have been there, it might be like the Princess Grace Drive or something like that, I think it's called.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like you need to go further down on the map.
Yes, so there's two options. There's a freeway you can actually load up on, which I don't think is going to be possible because obviously they've got to move traffic through the city.
Yep.
Although, mind you, it looked quite dead throughout the race, I'm not sure. But otherwise, there is the boulevard along the coast, and there's plenty of options to do some turning around. I've done some Google mapping.
Okay.
I've done all sorts of things.
Good.
Plenty of opportunities to do some turning around. To give listeners an idea of how far up this boulevard you can go, it's probably the length of, or longer than the length of the whole track of Monaco.
Yeah, okay.
So there's possibility galore. Now, why on earth we've never turned left here, or even considered, I'm not entirely sure. There might be some legitimate reasons as to why not, but the contract is up in 2025. The current layout I love because it's cool, but it's not doing the job at the moment.
No.
They need to come up with another solution as to what else they can do. And while that's a little tourist map that you can look at, have a look on Google Maps and you can see that there is a lane going up the coast and a lane right beside it coming back down the coast. And so you're going to be charging down a much longer straight, and then you're going to be hitting a hairpin and coming straight back. You probably need a little chicane. There's actually a little roundabout at Portier to the left. You probably need a little chicane through there to slow them down before they hit the tunnel, and then you send them through. So there could be two potential overtaking spots. Width of it is concerning. However, I'm sure they can make it work. This is Monaco. There is a beach beside it, so there's room to work around it.
Okay.
I think this has to be explored, and that's my extreme solution.
That's your extreme solution.
Extreme solution for you to fix Monaco?
I don't know if it's as extreme as anything like that, but is it I mean, it needs to live on the calendar.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You'd be silly to say it doesn't belong.
I couldn't agree more.
Because it does.
Yep.
It does. It's not like anything else. It needs to live there.
Yep. But it doesn't mean we stop trying things.
No. Is it a case of maybe it's not, maybe it's round one? Or is it like, I know in the AFL here in Australia, we've explored round 0. So is it we go, and maybe it's the first location we go to, and maybe we launch the year in Monaco, and we do all the car launches in Monaco, and let's say we turn up on Wednesday, so let's say we go Tuesday, we spend the week there. We go Tuesday, we launch the season. Wednesday, we launch the cars and the liveries, okay? Thursday, we get out on track and do a couple of practice sessions. And then Friday we qualify, and then Saturday we do just a little race. I don't know. I need 78 laps.
You're bringing a sprint race to Monaco,
but maybe that's it. But maybe it's not a championship round either. There's no points on offer. There's nothing like that. It's like a little mini test.
No one's
we can
interested.
go because that way you don't care if anyone's passing or not because no one's passing. So we know that overtaking doesn't exist. So there's no points on offer. It's a great way to launch the season. It's the glitz, it's the glamour, it's everything that's Formula One. And then we go and unveil all the teams and the drivers and the liveries, and it's in a really spectacular location. And then we have a little bit of time on track, we watch the cars, and it's a mini test session, and then we come to Australia and we start the year. Maybe that's where it lives. Maybe it's the season, Lord. Like, instead of, doing all your...
Feels like you gave up on it.
But maybe that's what it is. Like, I don't know that there's any other extreme solution to
It is.
It's like...
It's
It's more of a practical
It is a
thought, if
spectacle.
anything.
It's a spectacle.
It's a spectacle. We go because we love seeing the celebs and
Yep. But it doesn't have to be.
the locations and stuff
Doesn't
like
have
that.
to be. I've got great memories of watching Webber try and overtake, I don't know who, back when he was in the Jaguar days and he was trying to overtake. It took him 10 laps, 12 laps, maybe even more, coming into the Noville chicane, and he eventually got the job done. And that's because the cars weren't the cars we've got today.
But even you look at the centre Mansell battle.
Is the other option?
Notorious.
Is the other option that we have? And we're talking extreme options.
Yep.
Is the other option that they have to race different cars?
That's extreme.
It is extreme.
Yeah.
But is it that they have to race an F3 car? They're available. The drivers are driving them. Like there has like maybe we race them only. We do a practice session in the F1 cars. We do a practice session in the thing, and then they race the F3 cars. But I mean, I think the greatest move would be let's shrink these cars back down, and then all of a sudden we've got a spectacle again. Otherwise, we're turning left at Poitiers, and off we go down the coastline. But yeah, something needs to change. But in saying that, I still love the weekend. It's still one of my favourite Formula 1 weekends of the year.
Yeah.
And my God, let's get into the first person in our race review, because watching Charles Leclerc come around that last lap to a standing ovation.
Yeah.
The horns on all the boats are sounding. And it's just one of those beautiful moments. It was as good as a first win, if not better. Yeah. Wasn't it? Wasn't it a beautiful moment watching Leclerc win his home Grand Prix?
Oh, it was terrific. It was right up, like, what are we? We're 50% race winners, 4 from 8 race winners for the year, which is a great way to start. Which is really good.
4 from 4 in the last 4.
Yep, which is awesome. And to back that off, Lando's first win as well, I think the challenges that Charles has had over the years has just added to this as well. Yep. Like, I think that's given it a little bit more flavour, rather than just coming out and winning at home, because we've seen that happen before, with the likes of Lewis and that. You just come out, you win at home, yes, awesome.
Yep.
So I think that's really, really nice. I think we're all on board the resurgence of Ferrari. It's very much there. Like, you'd have to say now, it's coming. And then, so, dominated practice. The final practice was a bit meh. He was looking a little bit shaky in Q1. And then he sort of pulled it out, which was really nice to see.
It was a really solid weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice. It was good. And, his emotion and the crowd's emotion and, the driver's happy for him too. And then even the marshals as well, watching how emotional they were. It was good. It was probably the feel-good story of the year, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And that comes after a Lando Norris win, which we loved last weekend as well.
I tell you what, if it's not episode 1 of Drive to Survive next year, I'll be flat on that.
Everyone's waiting for him to bottle it. Like we talked last week that he is in second position, and he's the sort of driver that could do best in his championship, not being in contention for wins. Because he has the potential. Like he's been on 5 wins for so long. And he does tend to make a mistake in those big moments, and so I think everyone was like, he looked solid. But going into the race weekend, I was confident on Ferrari. Well, fairly confident on Ferrari. But it was, can Leclerc not bottle it, because he's bottled some big moments. But it was a beautifully driven race, and it was a lovely moment. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
Carlos Sainz, first corner coming together with Piastri.
With Oscar,
McLaren weren't happy about that.
No.
Do you think they had any grounds to not be happy?
Oh, look, I think just a little bit of floor damage, and we're lucky we're at Monaco, where it didn't really matter. And you just, Oscar's race was going to go one or two ways. He was going to get mugged, or he was going to be the muggy. And he just, he squeezed him. But he squeezed him, I thought he squeezed him pretty fairly.
Sainz?
Yeah. Like, he squeezed him.
It was a racing
incident. Okay. Like, we need that. We need that. And Oscar hung it out.
If you don't let him do that, we're going to have nothing.
No. Oscar hung it out. Sainz squeezed
For
him.
me, like moving slightly into Oscar, it's the first time I've seen Oscar balls up and take on a move like that. That is an all or nothing move. And like, there's part of me that loves that he's such a calculated driver and doesn't have these massive moves that cost him everything.
Yep.
But in this moment, he was starting second, and he couldn't afford to give that spot away.
I think,
and so I love to see that he ballsed up. It was such a big move, and he hung in there, even though in most situations I'd be like, you put your car there, you're in some trouble.
Yeah.
And I really liked it that this was the first one we've seen him really get gritty.
I was going to say, I don't think we've seen him put in that position before. So to know that if you are going to put him in that position, that he's going to hang it out and elbows are going to be out as well.
But we see on first corners, sometimes he's a little reluctant just to put himself in right in the thick of it, and he takes the safe option, which is generally a good idea because we know the rest of the race you can go and make up that space.
And maybe that's where this was that more situational type thing, that he knows that it's turn one. It's turn one or it's a pit stop, and that's all you've got. And so you can't get 20 laps in and then calculate and work your way through a move. It's now or never. I really like that. Do you think it's off the back of a really hot run of form? Because the results haven't shown how hot he is. But I just think he's absolutely on fire.
He is in form.
He is
he's
on
driving better than his teammate.
Yeah, he is.
For the first time
he is. He's driving better than Lando, and I know Lando's doing a good job, but he is legitimately... I honestly on that bandwagon that he's outperforming him, and that we don't have the results to back that up. But yeah, it was good.
Getting back to science. I mean, it's one of those funky rules. It's quite quirky that you get a redo in the race, and you don't suffer the consequences of what you did at the first part of the race.
Yeah,
and that just blows my mind that Science gets put back into third position.
Yeah.
Makes no difference to me, but it just blows my mind he gets put back into third position when he had parked that car because he had a flat. And I just feel like it's just there's no reason for it. But anyway, it is.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Yep. And back to Oscar, I like the fact that he controlled that race. He attacked when he wanted to attack. Even Charles said that the time he knew that he was going to win is because Oscar stuck one down late in the race. He thought, right, I've got to try and get some extra momentum on it, and then Oscar knew that the race was done because Leclerc gave it a little bit extra, and Oscar was sensible enough to say, rightio, we're done here.
Yep.
And so I thought it was just a really, really solid race.
Yep.
Norris, it was still very solid. And there was not much he could do. Didn't get qualifying quite right. And by didn't get qualifying quite right, it was very close. But it was a good one. Oscar's qualifying actually, just quickly back to him.
Yep.
If he had been able to put the full lap together, he would have been fast enough for a P1.
P1, yep.
But hey, this is Formula 1.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, that's right. You don't get redos unless your name is Science. Oh, by the way, we've got a new rule for the podcast. So you got the Albin situation really wrong. You got to apologise to him every time we bring up his name, okay?
No.
Sorry, Alex Albin is what we need to say.
No.
Because you busted that one. George Russell, are Mercedes on the improve with these updates, or is this a Monaco event?
It's just a Monaco event.
Have we seen a little bit of an upturn for Mercedes?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think there might be, but you can't really tell. We will find out with Lewis at Canada.
They're not on the pace of McLaren.
They're
not on the pace of Ferrari. They're not on the pace of Red Bull. They're in the exact same spot.
Yeah, I think they're in the same spot, but I think they're a little closer in their same spot. See, they were coming under pressure from the likes of Yuki. I wonder whether they might have just cemented their fourth position.
Maybe. There's nothing to write home about at the moment, I don't think.
What's up with Lewis saying that he won't out-qualify Russell this year?
Well, very, very adamant that front wing...
Oh, yeah. Well, he didn't get the front wing.
I sort of read that is that you're not getting the front wing.
Yeah, well, that's where his comments really fell apart, because he's getting it at Canada, which is what he eventually said.
Well, that was my understanding, but then I wonder, is there... And is this the protection against Ferrari... that's coming in, which I mean, there's more and more evidence of that every single race weekend. That I interpreted that first comment as that you're not getting the front wing at all. But is there obviously more on George's car?
So no, he's getting the front wing.
Yeah,
and
but
that's the only change. No, that's the only change. And he's getting it in Canada.
Okay.
This is a situation of Suki Suki Lala back again.
I feel like there's more coming, or there's changes on George's.
No, there is more. There's more updates coming.
Yes.
But there's not going to be an update every race. And
No.
so to make the statement that I'm not going to qualify my teammate every race, this is a situation of bring us back to, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Welcome back, Suki Suki Lala, Lewis Hamilton. It might even be longer than that ago. It might have been the 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah. I interpreted that George is getting more, and whatever the tech development that's going to happen is going to be with George, and it's just doors closed to Lewis.
Across the Lewis-George landscape,
yep.
who's been on top? Who's had the better time at Mercedes since George has been at Mercedes?
Well, I would still probably say Lewis, but not by much. Like they're very on a par, though, aren't they? Because George has been brilliant, but then think how many times George has put it in the wall and not got a result. And then think about Lewis has sort of done it in a nonchalant sort of way that there isn't a song and dance. It's like you don't realise he's sixth until he crosses the finish line in sixth, and you're like, oh.
Poor old George came into this team just a moment too late.
Just ready to write his world championship
and then
back-to-back speech, and now it's just put it in the
drawer. He came in that year that no longer required.
Yeah.
If George was involved in that other season, in the 2021 season, would George have been in that championship?
I don't know.
It's a huge if or but I was just thinking about it. I was like, oh, you know what? I wonder whether George would have been in there. Like, we saw how fast he was when he replaced Lewis.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, maybe George could have been in there.
Don't know. Yeah. Good question to ask.
Yeah, it's a big one. Maxie boy, the Red Bull did not like running over those curves. It was far too stiff.
Yeah.
And it is definitely a limitation on this car.
I've got a theory. I've got a theory at what's happening with Red Bull.
All
right, here's my theory.
Okay.
Here's my theory, and let me know your thoughts with it. So, updates have come in.
Yep.
So we've got updates on the RB20.
Yep.
Year was flying along really, really well.
It was.
We go bang, updates. The following week, Adrian Newey goes, that'll do me.
Mm-hmm.
He openly said after the historical running at Monaco that he's not being put in part of the tech analysis and the development R&D sort of debrief sessions. So what my theory behind that is that Adrian's developed the RB20 and that we've gone all year and gone, this is absolutely bulletproof. New parts have come in that, are Adrian's part. Adrian have said, that'll do me, and Red Bull have said, well, that'll do you for the time in the development. And the only real person that understands how these new aero upgrades and general upgrades to the RB20 is going is Adrian. And so maybe the theory that I have is that now they're there, whoever is now filling the void for him in those debrief and the analysis of the upgrades doesn't understand it like Adrian understands it. So Adrian can unlock these because they're his developments and they're his aero packages.
Yep.
But because Red Bull have closed the door on him, which is fair enough, they've closed the door on him, say he can't tell them what to do out of fear that those parts are going to go wherever he's going next. What are your thoughts on that? Because that's how I feel.
I think it's a team that isn't quite working the way that it used to for a range of different reasons, and I completely agree.
Can I throw another one, just a random way, which I've started to think about more and more across the weekend? When is the last time we heard from Christian Horner?
Yeah.
In any aspect.
He was interviewed by Sky Sports, but we're not seeing as much of him.
He's gone. It's like he's just gone. Like, I saw a couple of snippets of him across the weekend, and that was it. And every time I just see a camera snippet of him, I think I could not tell you the last time I heard you speak on your team, on your drivers, on where we're going, outside of the, response to the scandalous.
Yeah,
whatever.
There's been a few little
whatevers,
but
yes.
No, not like he used to be. Yeah,
he's disappeared. Toto's disappeared.
I think that's just a.
Is that just the way it is? Because
HR management. Let's just let the storm disappear by just not being there. You're not disappeared, but you're just not being in the spotlight.
I don't know. There's obviously not a lot.
I couldn't agree more.
There's a lot of unhappiness going on.
Max calling out the car, saying it's actually not as good as what everyone was saying it was originally. Is this a sign that Max is on the move?
No, not really, because Max is always vocal when something isn't to perfection. We've seen that with his comments with Jean-Pierre and Lambassi, that if it's not absolutely on point perfection every lap, every time he sets foot in that car, that he's not happy. So I would say no, because that's what we've seen in the past.
Are the Red Bulls back to the front in Canada?
I don't know.
It's bumpy at Canada.
I don't know.
Like, there's big curves at Canada.
Yeah.
And it's not completely smooth.
I don't know. The Ferrari resurgence is so real. It really is.
It's
so real.
And McLarens can't be.
And the McLaren cannot
like
be.
Ferrari, I still don't think are going to be giving the best Ferrari at Canada, because it still takes a few races.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I said need about 3 more races to see.
Yeah.
Same with the McLarens.
Well, I think McLarens have been there a little bit sooner. I think they're humming. So it's on. Red Bull ain't going anywhere. No, they're not going anywhere.
They're not.
However, it is still a bumpy track, and so there's still a little bit of hope that the championship is on. 31 points to the Drivers' Championship.
Oh, I feel it is.
25 points, I think, or even less for the constructors.
Oh yeah,
it's. I mean, I feel like Max is still going to win most of the races, but if he didn't have this head start, it'll be a whole lot more exciting. I think it'll be a whole lot more exciting.
No, I like the prospect of being run down. And that's a huge if. That's a huge if.
Yep.
This man is not doing a lot wrong.
Yep.
Like, we can't discount that. He's really not.
Yep. No, 100%.
He's really not. And like, if you look at Q1 and Q2, all indications are pointing that he was going to pull it out of the bag.
Much as I wanted to embarrass you at the start of the show by you talking up Max, it made plenty of sense. And it was still the right call in terms of Max pulls things off in this car that other people just aren't capable of. And while Max is in a car that he can drive, it's a dangerous combo. Perez, this is what happens when you start down the back.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to say to that?
Nope.
Is there any part of that incident that was Perez's fault for the crash?
Yes.
You think he should have given K-Mag more room?
I think all three played a part.
Oh, please.
In their own. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, my
absolutely.
God.
Absolutely. They all played a part in their DNF.
Yeah.
So K-Mag should not have been in there. No, sorry. It's okay that he was in there, but he needed to recognise that in no way was that move on. In any way,
so it wasn't okay to be there.
So it's okay to be like having a go, because he did, because Checo got out of sorts out of the first turn and he was on the back foot on the run up the hill, which is fine.
And then you get out.
And he got in there, and whether or not, I don't know that he got in there on purpose. I think he just found himself in there because Checo got out of shape. So he got in there, but that hill, yes, it's windy. It's a straight line up the hill. We all know that. It's a straight line up the hill. There's no racing line other than straight through the middle of that. So he needed to back out of that. Perez,
his issue was he wasn't necessarily trying to race Perez. He was going to see what happened,
Yep.
but he didn't want Hülkenberg to get his spot back.
But
which he put himself in that situation.
They were still almost alongside each other. So
he put himself in that situation where he couldn't keep Hulk's spot, because Hulk was going to follow through that line, and that was going to be all right.
It's not like he was doing this because the potential to catapult into 8th was there.
Yeah.
Like he was 20th.
Yeah.
Like, the best he was going to get was 19th.
Yes.
Like, you're not getting anything out of that other than disaster. So he found himself in there because Checo got out of shape, but he should have backed out of it. Checo looked, whether or not he saw him, I mean, it's up for debate, but if he did see him, then you just got to shuffle a little bit, because he did turn in, like fractionally, he did turn in marginally, and he didn't need to turn in, because as I said, the racing line is straight through the middle up the hill. And then Hulk, while the opportunity, and I can see what he was trying to do, because you always go to where the car isn't, or you go to where the car is at that point in time. And he went there, but just the ricochet off the barrier was so extreme that maybe he should have just thought, nah, and just wait. Because
I loved him. I loved him gunning it in that moment. He was alongside him.
And I can see what he was trying to do. And no real knock on Hulk. But
knock on Hulk.
He could have. I mean, again,
I apologise to Hulk.
Yeah, like it's hard with that one, but there was an opportunity for him just to lift off and just go, no.
I think even if he lifted off, he was leaving it. You need to apologise to Hulk.
I don't know if I'm going to apologise.
But I'm with you. Perez, like, I love Jensen Buttons. Oh, You did see him.
Yeah.
Oh, this is different. This changes everything.
Yes.
I love Jensen Button on the commentary.
Absolutely.
He calls it as it is.
Absolutely.
But it was all Magnussen's fault. Magnussen shouldn't have had his nose in there. And and I can't believe Magnussen's got away without a penalty.
Are the FIA scared?
Oh,
Are they scared
just disgusting.
to give a race ban?
Oh, my God. It's just disgusting.
Because I think we are. A race ban it's potentially there, but I think the FIA are terrified to give a race ban because the moment, we've never had one before, the moment you give one, that sets precedence.
Oh.
And I feel
If
like
there's ever a moment that one should have been given.
they're sitting back and just going, you know what? We don't. Let's just do nothing. Because then if we have
we've
no
got the
precedence...
we've got the first lap
Yep.
thing in our capabilities.
Yep, it's in our pocket. We can just go,
So we say first lap, we don't have to worry about it.
Because if we ban it, then it opens up a can of worms.
No,
We've got precedent
I think it's great.
set.
I think they should be. I
we
think
need
they should
to
be.
go and find a new driver.
The
We've
man
got
has cheated all
press,
year.
media, that kind of stuff.
He has cheated all year. And I don't care what anyone says. He's broken the rules deliberately to gain an advantage. That is the definition of cheating. And he's got away with it because the rules aren't hard enough on penalising it. Not because the rules allow it. They're just not hard enough on penalising it. And so he's got away with it all year. And then he's gone and stuck his nose up the dumbest spot you can in Monaco. And while Perez should have given him some more room when he saw him, he should have expected that he was going to cause a huge accident, which it was a huge accident.
What are your thoughts on the miscommunication between home base and engineers for race setup, which resulted in the qualifying disqualification?
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Weird. Why would you suddenly not know how to set your rear wing up?
Yeah, because I assumed it was a system failure, but no, it was a deliberate setup that they got wrong. Now,
no rear wing update. It wasn't. They did have an update, but it wasn't part of it.
Yeah.
To suddenly, like.
I wonder whether because they're using such high downforce wings. But I'm with you. I'm with you. I think they got a little lucky to be able to race.
I don't want to bring a negative. I don't want to bring the podcast down into negative spirals today.
You already have.
I know. From
last week.
I'm just saying. It's just like we go to Monza and suddenly you're running a very slippery car with a different package. It's not much too dissimilar. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Is Yuki ready for a Red Bull seat?
Yes. Why couldn't you play those comments at the start of the episode? Why couldn't you throw them out? How many times have I said that?
What's in it for me?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
It sounds like Perez is pretty close to signing an extension.
Well, that's the talk from today that it's as good as that. I would expect it wouldn't be anything more than 2.
I like the fact
one.
that they're not doing this to Yuki. This makes me happy because we've seen Red Bull turn into the driver meat grinder situation where they just grind through drivers.
Yep.
Yuki hasn't proven anything yet. He's no. Hear me out.
Okay.
He's driven the pants off that car. No, cars don't have pants. We've driven the tyres off that car this year. He has been unreal, and I'm with you. He's been fantastic. Yep. Because we were disappointed that car didn't start the way we expected it to, but it's certainly come on the way we expected it to.
Yeah.
And he has been brilliant. And the Red Bull thing would be is to bring that driver up.
Yep.
And then they get thrown in the hot seat against Max, and then that driver gets destroyed by not understanding that car, because that car is not set up for other drivers, and it's taken Perez some time to be able to deal with that car, and he still doesn't really deal with it very well. Yuki is not the person to be dealing with that at the moment. Let him have his confidence-filled season with RB, and then see what happens, but don't bring him in mid-season, because it never goes well. Okay. Name me the last driver when they brought him mid-season that went well for.
Max Verstappen.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, he did well. But since then, who else we had?
No, I've answered your question.
Yeah, that's true. He was a good mid-season one. But they've also had Albon that didn't work for. Jean-Eric Verne that didn't work for. Kvyat didn't work for. Missing one. Who else are missing?
I don't know.
Others. Other ones. So it's just let him have his confidence-filled season, and that's the way to do it. Dan disappointed me. I was expecting him to be on it.
Yeah.
His big problem was that he had to park up too long in Rascasse.
Yeah, poor strategy.
During qualifying, he was waiting too long. The gap wasn't there, and then, tyres were never going to him, unfortunately.
That's not the first time tyres haven't gone to him in Monaco.
No, that's true. Ooh, that hurts. Alex Albon. Sorry, Alex Albon.
Jump off.
I can't believe. Alex Albon picked up first points for Williams.
Oh.
Well done, Alex. And he beat his teammate, even though Tristan said he wouldn't be able to. He's a great driver.
How was the sass on James Vowles? I'm off Williams, you know that.
I know you are. You are way off him.
I'm well off him.
Yep.
How was the sass from James Vowles, where suddenly in your points and you're throwing out comical one-liners that you don't know what RB's team name is?
Oh, just let him have his moment.
No.
Was he throwing shade at RB?
No. Yeah.
Oh, you can't be doing that.
No, you can't.
I'm with you. You can't be doing that. Yuki's on 19 points.
You can't suddenly turn into like, oh, look at me, I'm getting 2 points, and now you're starting to... It was Zach Brown of last week.
Really?
That you've beaten Max and now you throw it. Like, he did it in like a humorous sort of comical way, but you know that person that everyone's got one in that life, that person that isn't funny, and then they think they're on a real winner and they laugh at their own joke, and it's like, remember that time I told you about? No.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's unheard. That's uncalled for.
No, I'm not having that. I'm off Williams.
Yeah, I have noticed. Alex Albon, 2 points for the team, which is brilliant news for them. Moves them into third last.
Oh.
Third last, yeah. So they're on even points with Alpine, and they're beating Kick Sauber.
Even points with Alpine.
It's interesting.
There's nothing to write home about.
But you must say that Albon, great result. He's in a Williams, and he's qualified it in 8th, and he picked up 8th position.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry, Alex Albon.
That's all right.
9th, I think it was, actually.
What have you been doing for the rest of the year?
Not having a great Williams.
No.
No. I'm not even going to talk about Sargent. Nothing event. Gasly.
This was the weekend I was praying, because we had the red flag, and then all eyes turned to Logan. I'm like, please put in the wall. We need a safety car.
Yeah.
Didn't let me down massively.
Pierre Gasly.
Brilliant.
Started in 10th. His teammate crashed into him, and he still finished in 10th.
Bruno Famine has come out today.
Not today.
I don't know. I only read it today.
Okay.
It could have been last night.
I think it was at the race.
Was it the race?
Is this the one that we're going to...
This is the threat. The threat.
Oh, let me... You give the threat and I'll tell you what's happening.
The threat to throw him mid-season.
No, that's not what he said.
That was the way it was framed.
No.
From the way I read it.
Yeah, but it wasn't. So for starters, it was said in French.
Yeah, okay.
And so they got it translated mid-race.
Okay, yeah.
And so then the threat is that there's going to be punishments. Now, we don't know what that means. There's going to be consequences.
That's what I've looked at today.
And we're going to have to make some hard decisions.
Yep.
And then he was seen speaking to, those people who weren't watching the race, lap 1, just before the red flag was called, and I mean seconds before the red flag was called, Ocon was on this, he was on a mission, because he actually drove around through people in the hairpin, or in the lead up to the hairpin, and he got through one of the Williams. After it was like the is it Massenet?
Yep, Massenet. In the Casino Square.
Yeah, there was the one coming out. What's after the hairpin? Oh, I can't remember now. But anyway, coming out of the hairpin, he pulls another move, and then he shoots it down the inside of his teammate Pierre Gasly. And in saying this, he almost had the move done.
Yeah,
it's just that he oversteered into Gasly, gave him no room. But the thing is, the risk of bringing both cars out.
Yeah, Portier.
And at Portier was this one. I was trying to think of the corner before that. But at Portier, this is where this move's done, and it throws his car into the air, damages his car, so he actually has to retire it.
Yeah.
But Gasly is almost out of the race as well.
Yeah.
And it's just this reckless move. It is it was nearly on. Part of me liked that he had a crack at it, because he got it in front.
Yep.
It's just he couldn't pull off the move without taking out his teammate. And there should be consequences for that. But then Famine came out and said there are going to be consequences for this. We're going to have to make some hard decisions. And that made people start thinking, rightio, does that mean that contracts for next year are done?
Yep.
We're going to get rid of him out of the team?
Yep.
Or does it mean they're going to drop him for the race? And then he was seen speaking to Jack Doohan.
Yep.
after the race.
Yep.
He calls him over. They have a chat, and that really gets tongues wagging.
Yep. This is a really defining moment, not for Ocon, but for Alpine and Bruno Famine. This is your moment. If you are so hell-bent on turning this team around and that you want to put your foot down as team boss and say, this is how it's going to be, if he backpedals in any way from that, or it is just the most minor sort of slap on the wrist consequence that he can give, like he's being really strong in his wording and just the way that he has vocalised that. This is his moment. This is his make or break moment.
But it's a win-win for him. Because the thing is, he gets to make that hard stance. Yep. This is not what we represent. Yep. We've spoken to you about this. This is not going to be okay. So you're making that hard stance. But Ocon's shopping himself around to leave the team.
Yeah.
Go and find out about Jack Doohan, who's your reserve driver, or go and find out about somebody else, even if it's just one race.
Yep.
This is not okay.
Look, the form's there from Ocon too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So it's a win-win. You're going to find out about a driver, and you're going to make your stand as a team.
The worst thing he can do is do nothing. If he does nothing, then that's, it's just, anyway, interesting to see what happens. It's a massive watch this space.
Yep.
But, I thought Gasly was brilliant too. And to be up in 5th, what was it, Q2? He was in 5th or something like that. Brilliant result. Brilliant result. And he's been
needed it.
He's been really vocal, though, over the last few rounds, probably about the last 4 rounds now, of just the alleged favouritism that's going towards Ocon. That he's sort of almost crying out, I'm playing the team game here, but you're not returning serve.
Yeah. Yep. Which is... Yeah, I think they've got to start backing him in because he's the driver that's more likely going to be hanging around. Is there... We're going to talk about some Alpine in Dud of the Day.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Aston and Martin in Dud of the Day. Is there anyone else you want to talk about?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's get into the 3, 2, and 1. Thanks to All Signs. I'm wearing the jumper today. Thanks to All Signs. 3, 2, and 1. All Signs. That is awesome for all your signage needs. Where are you going for your 3, 2, and 1?
I think it is a really nice Charles 3.
Yep. We're agreeing far too much this year. I'm with you on that. Leclerc is getting 6 points from us.
Yep, and then it is an Oscar 2.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
yes, and
it's an Oscar
I
2.
believe our last point will be where we will find some difference, which is nice because we can't just do the same thing.
No, that's fair. And then it's a Gasly 1.
Pierre Gasly?
Yep.
Sorry, Alex Albon, is what you're supposed to say. Here's 1 point.
No.
And that's really disappointing that you can't bring yourself around. Like, why? Why can't you bring yourself around to admit you got that wrong?
No.
He's in an Alpine. He's in a Williams.
Gasly's in an Alpine.
Yeah, he's in a Williams, and he beat the Alpine. Why doesn't he get the points?
So he should be beating an Alpine.
Well,
they should be. They didn't even know what they were doing. It was like they had a Meccano set or a Lego set at the start of the year, and they're like, what does this do? That's how Alpine started the year.
I'll give you one shot.
I didn't know. They were still reading their instructions on how to build their Alpine in Australia. So the Williams should be beating them.
I'll give you one shot at the other day, and then I'm having the rest.
Give me one.
I'm having the rest. I've got so many to go with.
Fine.
Do you have one ready?
Do I have one ready? I had a couple, but I'm interested to hear a lot of yours now.
Okay.
You go first.
I'll go, and if I don't cover any...
If you don't cover any of mine...
You'll come in.
All right, I'll come in and I'll spring you one at the end.
I've got a couple of nice ones.
All right. Are you going to have honourable mentions?
Yeah,
Are
there's
you
a few
just
honourable
going to
mentions.
be
All right, I'll go. Yeah, right now. We're going to go some honourable mentions.
All right, no
Advertising
worries.
banners.
Okay.
They cannot come off racetrack walls, even if the walls are hit.
Yeah, okay.
But if you drive past a racetrack wall and it gets sucked off the wall and sucked under a car, that ain't cool. 4 metres worth of racing banner was stuck under Norris's car.
Okay.
Not cool.
Yep.
All right.
4 metres is a lot too.
It is. Another honourable mention.
Yep.
The theme song is so cheesy. And I've never liked it.
Oh.
But it was made even more cheesy with seeing it at Monaco, the place of class. Anyway, that's just a little one.
Oh.
Next one, Ocon. Speaks for itself.
Okay.
You're not chucking it down there. That's not okay. Bring in Jack. Let's see it. Magnussen, K-Mag. But the number one.
Oh.
The number one. So this is my dud of the day.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Red flag rules. Another dud of the day.
Yep.
But my number one dud of the day.
Yep.
So, Alonso sacrifices his race for his teammate. Okay,
Yep.
so he
Yep.
sacrificed his race for his teammate.
Yep.
What happened was they both started on hards. The red flag meant they had to change to mediums.
Yep.
Stroll wasn't able to keep his mediums alive to get through the race because he's a dud.
Yep.
And dud of the day, dud of the year, dud of his career.
Oh.
Okay.
Whoa.
So he couldn't keep his tyres alive, so he needed a pit stop.
Oh. Yeah.
He needed a pit stop. So what he needed from his teammate, who was straight behind him,
Yep.
was he needed Alonso
Yep.
to back off the pace to create a gap. And Alonso creates a 11-second gap in case there's a safety car. It's not going to work, so he has to create more gap. So he stretches his gap. He slows down to the point where he creates a 21-second gap or 22-second gap
Yeah.
for Stroll to come in and change his tyres because he can't manage those tyres in this race situation. So he chucks on a new set of tyres.
Okay.
Thank you, Alonso. Okay, guess that's all well and good. In the next couple of laps, he smashes into a wall, gets a flat... Sorry, in the next lap, I think it was, or it might have been 2 laps, smashes into a wall, gets a flat tyre, and has to come in for a new set of tyres.
Yep.
And all that work that Alonso had done, destroying their race, is completely undone because Stroll can't drive a Formula 1 car around Monaco. He can't manage his tyres. So Stroll is our dud of the day. He's our dud of the year. His career is the biggest dud of all. It is pathetic what he achieved. How could you ruin your teammate's race and then not have the respect to keep it on the track? Absolutely pathetic. And if he ever comes out sucking that people don't like him, well, this is why. Because you are rubbish and you are making other people around you rubbish. One of the best of all time.
That's good.
Was made to be rubbish.
That's good. You've done all my heavy lifting for the rest of the year now.
A comical one on this, though.
Yep.
Alonso actually thought that they were racing in 10th. And so Alonso did all this work because he thought the team was going to get a point.
Yeah, good.
Until lap 50, he realises, hang on.
We're not 10th.
We're not 10th. I'm going to have to make some places up to try and make 10th. This isn't going to happen. So they'd obviously sold him that it was going to mean that...
Car development week and Aston Martin just do not go hand in hand, do they?
Car development at all. Yeah, so anyway.
All right, I don't mind that. Did you see, just speaking on the great man, the home hero in a week's time. Like...
Hey?
Lance Stroll.
Oh.
That's right, because he's the home hero.
Great man.
He's the home hero.
Well,
now.
he's home.
He's the home hero.
He's home.
If you're a Stroll listener and you're lining your garden with Stroll gnomes and you're hanging, green Aston Martin sort of tinsel from your veranda, please get in touch because we're still on the hunt for diehard Stroll fans. I think it will be my whole life. Anyway, did you see the video that came out? Someone did, I don't know when it was. I don't know if it was recent or old. I don't know. But it was when he came out and they were talking about the importance of keeping paid drivers out of the sport. And his comments around it were that it's really important that they've got this rule in place or that there is, you need the super licenses and to show that you've won the categories because we want the best drivers with the best actual results to be in the team and we don't want people buying their way in sport.
Lance Stroll said that.
Is there more of a hypocritical...
Never ever. What are you doing? Are you going to try and play it?
I was going to see if I can find it.
Oh, right. Okay. This will be interesting.
This will be interesting. I just need to see if I can find it. We'll work through the next sort of little segments and I'll see if I can find it. They were alright. Oh no, you've let me down. You said you had heaps and it was just, they were sort of very...
I had 6.
They were very you duds though, like they're safe duds. Their Max is going to win duds. My dud of the day.
Sorry.
My dud of the day.
Album comments.
My dud of the day goes to the Formula 1 YouTube channel.
Yeah, go on, hit me.
Who for some reason have felt that they can promote to us 8 minutes and 8 seconds of race highlights from the Monaco Grand Prix.
That's creative.
Outside of the first lap, which goes for about 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Is that all?
And it's not.
Surely they show replays.
It's not a long
every
lap.
moment.
It's not a long lap.
No, right? I know, but there's half a lap.
So
there.
let's say lap. Let's say we just watch the whole first lap because name me another time something else happened. So we watched the whole of the first lap. So there's 1 minute and 15 seconds. Let's say we watch the light. There's an extra 5 seconds. There's 1 minute and 20 seconds. Who sat down and said, I've got 7 more minutes of highlights? No, you don't.
Remember that time?
Don't have 7 more minutes of highlights.
That Oscar
You've got
poked his
1
nose
minute and 15
off the racing
seconds
line
of
at that moment.
highlights. That's it. So to promote that you've got 8 minutes and 8 seconds of highlights. There was not 8 minutes of highlights. There was not.
No.
It was a minute of highlights. It wasn't even a
No,
minute.
no.
It was 30 seconds of
I reckon
highlights.
I reckon there's 8 minutes of highlights in the first lap.
We didn't even get around the first lap to complete it.
I think there's enough in the first lap.
Hideous. Anyway, Formula One's YouTube channel get my dad of the day for allegedly thinking they have 8 minutes of highlights in the Monaco Grand Prix, which they do not have 8 minutes of highlights. Anyway, hideous.
I did forget a dud.
Hideous. Can I say I'm watching it right now, just to sort of highlight my point here? I'm at 6 minutes and 20 seconds left. I'm up to the 4th replay of the first crash.
Oh, there you go. So there's a little bit more in there.
No, the highlight is the one crash.
Yeah.
For 8 minutes.
I did forget a dud.
Did you?
Yep. Lewis
Oh.
for complaining to the team that they didn't tell him he needed to push on his outlap. You didn't tell me my outlap was critical, was his words.
Okay.
Every time you do an outlap, my friend, it is critical. This man is always across racing. That was a poor call again. Once again, deflecting, very deflecting. Now there's no F1.5 because
my laptop
are also
for
a dud of the
swim.
day. You are also a dud of the day
know.
for pouring paint on your computer.
I'm sorry.
So
it looks nice.
we will see it soon. We'll catch up on F1.5. Don't despair.
Don't despair. It'll
All
be
the
here.
results will be there.
Yep.
Yuki will have picked up the full 25 points for his best of the rest.
Yes. And then we should have a new leader. If you're playing along at home, you should realise that we'll have a new leader. Anyway.
Yep. And Albin will be shooting up the ranks with his 18 points.
Don't know about that.
Pierre Gasly moving up the rankings as well. Fantasy.
Thanks to Chris. Oh, it's going to be a painful segment. Thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art and all of his wonderful sponsorship of this year. Top 3 place getters.
I think this is one of my
Take
favourite
home
episodes.
a brilliant... Yeah.
I think this is
This is why I was late, because I was looking for reasons not to record tonight. Thanks to Chris for being a wonderful sponsor of our show. Top 3 take home a brilliant piece of Formula One art to hang in pride of place of your home at season's end. Get around his Instagram, Facebook, Redbubble, all the socials. Subscribe to his email for percentage off discounts, especially around Silverstone weekend, and get yourself a wonderful piece of artwork. And if you are a karter or a casual racer, check out his helmet artwork as well for something unique and stylish of your very own.
Very good.
Goodness me. All right.
That wasn't directed at Chris.
No,
was
that's
directed
not
at
your work. That was
Tristan's
me
work.
opening my score for the weekend. All right. Let's start with where we are for this round.
Yes.
This round.
Yes.
All right, let's go through we'll go through the top 10, I guess. Let's go through the top 10 for the round 2. In first place, Laura's Van der Veer. Huge weekend for Laura's on 252 points. Topped the round for Monaco. Nicola Taylor, 249 points as well. Andrew Taylor, wonder if they're related. 248 points in third place. Jolyon Dyer with 219. Roman Mirik in fifth, 215. You in sixth.
Yes.
I
didn't actually know this was the case.
214 points. Ugh.
What a man.
Dean Holt in 7th place on 208. Chloe Anderson on 207 with Scarlet Forever. Simon Leng in 9th place in 204. Tied with Aaron Rodgers on 9th place as well with 204. And then rounding out the 10th, which is really 11th, AJ Ferguson, the Crazy Gang, on 196 points.
Great to see you finally worked out how the system works.
You'll find me while I'm a little bit down. And I know people listening to the episode this week are like we're flat.
I'm not.
I feel,
one of my favourite
you.
episodes ever.
I feel you, and I'm sorry, because we love fantasy, and if you're a fantasy lover, like I love it too, and I'm sorry, I've let you down this weekend. I apologise. But I've ended up in 17th place, which is not all doom and gloom. It is when you're constantly in the top 10. But it's not all doom and gloom. I've ended up on 156 points, but this is where, and this is how my Monaco race weekend's going, and just my week in general is going. I had both Hasses.
Yoy.
Both Hasses.
Ooh.
And after after Q1, no, when we were top of the timesheet, I thought, here we go. I'm on here. I'm on a good thing. Because I had Charlie in, and I had the double on him, and I'm looking good, and I've got the Ferraris, and life's good, and then the Haas's top the practice session, and Yuki's up there, and I'm thinking, yes, I'm on this, I'm going to win the round. So I had Charles for 90 on the double, which is great. Yuki with 7, Dan 0, which is really what I should have given the race weekend. The McLarens for 56, and the Ferraris for 68. But for Hulkenberg and K-Mag, not only did I get a DNF for both of them, but I was also hit with a minus 15 per driver for their disqualification in qualifying.
Yo.
So Hulkenberg gave me minus 32, and K-Mag gave me minus 33. So I've been hit with minus 65 points on the race weekend.
Couldn't have had
minus 65, which would have put me on about 220 for the round, and I would have been laughing. I would have been ahead of you.
Yeah,
which is rightfully where I belong.
Yeah,
anyway,
so it hasn't
been a great round. And if we go to the leaderboard, we'll go through the top 10. So I'm down in 12th. I'm outside. I'm outside the top 10. I'm flat, but that's all right. I've still got my wild cards to play as of you. So in first place at the moment, leading all comers, Andrew Taylor with Tails I Win on 2,115. Dean Holt, Ricky Bobby Racing. Dean's good at fantasy. 1,959. David Rojas in third. All gasoline, no brakes. Appropriate for the round. 1867. Chloe Anderson on 1859 in fourth place. Roman Merrick, 1,847 in fifth. And then rounding out the bottom 5 for our top 10 is Jolien Dyer, Fariz, Chris Holt, Nicola Taylor, Loris van der Veer, Danielson, Musila as well in 11th place. Just ahead of me. Anyway, that's fantasy for the round. Thanks to everyone who has been involved and getting around that every week. Thanks to Chris again at Talk to Auto Art. Looking forward to chatting to Chris, I think, soon.
Yes.
Talking to Chris, which would be really good. So, anyway, any changes that you're going to be making to your team?
Yeah, Bottas is out, Hulkenberg's in.
Okay, I don't mind that.
Yep. I couldn't afford to make it happen, but now that he dropped a bit of money, I can make it happen.
Yeah.
So,
I've got a little bit of money in the bank, too, after my sort of... I got 5.9 left over, which is good. So, I'm not quite sure how to invest that. With that, 14.8, who's that going to get me? That's probably the best. I don't know, Gasly's looking tempting at the moment. Ocon's looking tempting at the moment too. 8.1 and 9.4. Maybe Dan goes, maybe. Dan, 8.9, yeah, -1 for Dan. He's not having a good round, is he? Not having a good year so far. Maybe Gasly comes in. Maybe one of the Alpine boys come in too. I can afford those guys. So,
goodness.
Yeah, I can afford Lance Stroll, but that just goes against everything that...
What's the point?
Everything I sort of stand for as a human being.
What is the point?
What do you think, Gasly or Ocon? I think I'll leave it. I'll just hang on to it for a minute.
Yeah, I don't think I'll go with either of them just yet.
No, Dan on -1. Anyway, that's looking all right. The McLarens are looking good for 25.5. They've gone up a mil. Ferrari have gone up a mil. So if you are scrounging for cash and you have missed the boat on that, oh, geez, you got to be getting on that really, really soon. The Red Bull's still sitting there at 28.8 million. That's a lot of cash with the Ferraris catching them. 599 points for Red Bull. Ferrari have got 554. So the Ferrari is the best investment at the moment.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, that's fantasy for the week.
Outstanding. Very good. Good. And yeah, we'll be catching up on fantasy. Hopefully, when's the next sprint race? Not for a while, is it?
Not for a while, which is refreshing.
I know, but I really need to use my my things because I keep forgetting to use them.
Do we have a sprint in Canada? I don't know. We do.
I don't think so. No.
Canada is... When are we looking at Canada? Yeah, a week's break. I hate the week's break.
Yeah, we've got a fortnight off. Well, fortnight until the next one.
Yeah, Canada, then we're off to Spain, and then Austria, and then Great Britain, and Hungary, and Belgium, and Netherlands, and Italy.
What's your tip?
Singapore.
For Canada. There's not much news around,
really
is there?
Good. No, there's not really any news around. No.
What's your tip for...
tip for Canada? I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with back-to-back for Charles.
I like it.
Sorry. No. You know what? Oscar. I'm going to stick with Oscar. I'm going to stick with Oscar. Dan won in Canada. I just think strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Oscar for a win. Oscar for a win, into Charles second, into Sainz third. No, Max third, sorry. Max. Okay. So Oscar, Charles, and Max.
Okay. I'm going to go with Max. I think Max will be back. It's a boring call, but Max into Charles into Oscar.
Okay, I don't mind that.
Yep, but yes, no, I love the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yep,
it's a ripper.
If you get a chance, watch the highlights of the Indy 500. It's also Indy 500 week.
Hang on, wasn't it Indy 500 this week?
Yep, yesterday.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
So this is...
Yep, watch the highlights.
No,
watch the highlights.
I haven't had a chance, but
Brilliant. Barnstorming finish.
I do need to have a little
Couldn't
squeeze.
be more opposite for Monaco.
Yeah, right, okay.
Anyway, hot finish, barnstorming finish. Get on, have a look at the highlights, at least if you can, in the last lap. It is a spectacle to behold.
Okay, all right. I'll have to have a squeeze. Is that on KO?
No, you find it on Stan here in Australia, in the IndyCar Series.
I don't have Stan.
Thanks to Stan. If you're out there and you work at Stan and you're listening and you want to throw us a free subscription or give us some money, because we are poor,
I'm down with that.
we'll have some of that.
The race is a 4am. How do you feel about a 4am?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll still get up.
Yes, yeah. Are you going to watch it live?
Yes,
or are you
I
going
always
to
do.
Slight delay it?
Nah, I think I'll watch it live because then by the time my little boy wakes up,
yeah,
it'll be finished.
6 a.m. should be a usual finish time.
Yeah, and if you've ever had an argument with a 3-year-old about what should go on TV, yeah, just a hot tip: you don't win.
Qualifying, on the other hand, is a 6 a.m.
Yeah.
A little bit more
I
respectful.
don't mind that. We can get up, we can have breakfast, we might
Yep.
have a coffee, watch qualifying, get to 9 o'clock and be like, oh, that was a good way to start the day.
Yep. But anyway, we're a fortnight away from Canada, and I think Canada goes straight into Spain.
Yes, straight to Barcelona.
No, we get a week off. That's annoying. It's Barcelona into Austria. Into Great Britain. We get our first triple header after that. So
I love the
okay. How exciting! Yeah, well, apart from Spain, Austria into Great Britain is lovely, isn't it? We'll take that.
Brilliant.
Keep your ears posted for Fan Frenzy, but until then, we'll talk to you after the Canadian Grand Prix. Goodbye now.